Everybody goes quiet.
Silence. So the galer vi crinu an a tábhachtach an a cordial aging is solar gwil an príomh aran a bratainna oscailte obair le chéile agus tá deis aging inis an cadraibh idir an dá oileán an jaar tú. Se an príomh ceist agus an príomh rud ná táimid ag éirí obair taobh is sé den Good Friday Agreement. So, how are you all? Good morning. We have had a very constructive, very friendly meeting with the new Prime Minister. We have discussed with him all of the issues of concern and also of the opportunities that now present themselves. Clearly, the issues around the financial sustainability of the North, the financing of public services is a matter of ongoing concern for all of us. Issues around the legacy legislation, we very much welcome the commitment to repeal that. We also welcome the very firm assurances in respect of Casement Park, and we expect to see progress on that matter in the near future. It only makes sense that we grasp the opportunity of hosting in part the Euros here in the north of Ireland. We also took the opportunity to raise the issue of Palestine, the catastrophic situation in Gaza and in the West Bank, the need for an immediate ceasefire, the need for Israel to step inside international law and to end the slaughter. We pressed that point very firmly. We explored with the Prime Minister the fact that the Palestinian state has now at last been recognised by the Dublin government, and we urged that London would follow suit and would do so very, very promptly. We raised the issue of immigration. Clearly there is an ongoing need for arrangements and agreement between Dublin and London in respect of safe returns of asylum seekers, and we were very pleased to hear a very open and constructive approach from the British Prime Minister in that regard. Those arrangements need to be landed on very, very quickly, so we pressed that issue with him. And of course we talked to him about change, the constitutional future, the fact that the Westminster election again reflected that all is changed here and changing, and the need for all of us to work together constructively and to plan for that future. For us, of course, we are Republicans, we're United Irelanders. We wish to see a new Ireland in which every citizen, every person has a stake. And we are very, very conscious that we have an obligation to work constructively and in partnership for everybody. But we also know that the British government has an obligation to act with rigorous impartiality in terms of the Good Friday Agreement, but also to recognise that the referendums, provision for referendums and charting our future together is at the very core of that agreement. We shared with the Prime Minister our happiness at the fact that the party of the Good Friday Agreement, the Labour Party, is now back in government in London, and we think that opens up now an opportunity to work collaboratively and to make real and substantial progress. So we look forward to that in the future. Sinead.
You just said that you're sure that you're happy you were back in government. Is this a British government that should be trusted?
Well, look, this is the government that we wish to work with in a constructive way. We are very conscious that, 26 years ago, a British Labour government was at the heart of striking the Good Friday Agreement. We want this British government to be at the heart of honouring that agreement, fulfilling that agreement in all of its parts. And we're going to work very, very constructively for that to happen, because the opportunities, the challenges that we face as societies are real and substantial, but the opportunities too are there for us to grasp. So I think that we need to sound a note of real optimism today. that we can move forward together, that we can work closely together to honour the Good Friday Agreement, to ensure that public services are funded correctly here in the north of Ireland, to work on pressing issues like the issue of immigration together. So we look forward to that, and from that trust is built brick by brick. Morning. Well, look, I think the visit here has to be a demonstration of intent to engage constructively and positively. That's what we take from it. We are acutely conscious that there is a real issue around money and finances and resources, and I can assure you those in the executive led by Michelle O'Neill and also Finance Minister Caoimhe Archibald will press very, very hard, press home the fact that this place is underfunded, that is not a sustainable situation. And for a new era and for a reset in relationships, obviously that has to mean correct and adequate financing and funding. We are not at that point yet. We've raised this with the Prime Minister and with the administration, and this will be an ongoing piece of work. By the way, this is something I believe that we need to tackle collectively. I think particularly the parties to the executive need to work in common cause, because the funding has to be obtained. So the pressure will be on and has been applied from day one on that question.
And we're only 3 or 4 days post the election, and we've taken every opportunity to raise the issue of public finances, and I do believe that there's a willingness there in which they want to work constructively with us. That will be tested over time, of course, but there certainly is a willingness in terms of the engagement piece. And I mean, we've taken every opportunity to press home the need for a proper funding model for here in order for us to be able to reverse the damage that the Tories have inflicted on us for 14 years. So, look, time will tell in terms of their delivery and what they want to do to actually assist us. But both myself and Emma Little-Pengelly, in terms of the Executive Office this morning, took the opportunity to drive that message home. We've taken it again with Keir Starmer, with the Prime Minister, in our meeting, and we continue to do that. But this is going to be a battle a day, but that's all right. That's what we're here to do.
Morning. Well, just bear in mind the commitment to casement is a long-standing one from the British government, from Dublin, from all of the parties involved, and it has to be delivered on. I believe that the commitment is real. We have been given assurances in that regard, and of course now we want to see this gather pace. I think there has to be we need to see material progress on this, and we look forward to that in the coming days. Do we believe that the commitment is genuine? We do. We believe it has to be genuine because this project has to be delivered, and it only makes sense that it would be delivered in time for the next Euros competition. By the way, we had we didn't exactly wish him well in the current Euros. That was probably, I said it was a very friendly meeting, and it was. This might have been the one moment
of divergence.
Divergence is the word. But yes, we take his word, we take the word of Hilary Benn, we reflect on the fact that this is a long-standing commitment that has to be delivered on. So what we want to see now is progress. We need to see real advancement of this, and it needs to happen quickly because, as you say, time is short. Good morning, David.
Yesterday, I asked the new Secretary of State about your electoral success and potential for a timeline on the referendum on Irish unity. He said it was some way off, conditions have not yet been met. That doesn't sound like the issue of constitutional change is a priority.
Well, the issue of constitutional change has been raised, and I think, the recent elections reflect again the fact that all is changed here and changing. And we have reiterated our view to the Prime Minister, the British Prime Minister, that it is foolhardy to bury your head in the sand on this question. We have reminded him that the provision for referendums is at the very heart of the Good Friday Agreement. So, yes, we need to see progress on this. Yes, we need, if people talk about conditions for a referendum, let's have clarity on what is meant by that. So we look forward. This is our first meeting with them. But this is a question that needs to be addressed by all of us. By the way, it's also a question that ordinarily brings out adversarial politics, because of the differing ambitions. But we actually believe that there's scope here to work very, very cooperatively. We're Irish Republicans, we're United Irelanders. That is our objective, a new Ireland that embraces all. We know that others are of a unionist mindset, and that's fine. But what we share in common is a desire to have a good future. And I think we can all agree that planning there for conversation and collaboration is absolutely essential. So yes, that is front and centre in the politics of dealing certainly with Sinn Féin, and I think dealing with not just with us but with so many others now who see that a new future is on the horizon and who frankly want to be prepared for that and all of the opportunities that it will bring. Morning, David. Well, look, I think what is and has been explicitly recognised by all, including the British Prime Minister, is that we work within the Good Friday Agreement framework, and part and parcel of that is the provision for referendums. That is accepted. I think that the Prime Minister is a sensible person who, that's my assessment, who recognises with the rest of us that things have changed here and that things are changing. And we have pressed him and we will continue to press the British Government, therefore, for a plan, therefore for an agreed momentum forward. So that is work that will, every meeting that we do, that I have ever done with Keir Starmer prior to becoming Prime Minister and now that he is Prime Minister, the issue of the referendums, the issue of the future has always been front and centre. That will continue to be the case. And then we need to work together on these matters. And I really hope now that we have a change of government that there will be an opportunity to work more collaboratively and certainly with less adversarial politics on this question.
This is very obviously early days, but comparing to the Conservative government, how do you think it will be on the paper?
I think it has the potential to be as the daylight to the dark. And that's my hope. I don't think it's any secret that over the last years, not alone did Tory austerity really hurt the North here, it really hurt public service provision, but it hurt relationships as well. And I am immensely hopeful that that can be corrected. And for our part, we are absolutely determined to come at these things very, very constructively. So there has to be a step change. That's what we want to see. We need to develop the relationships of friendship, of collaboration between our two islands, between Dublin and London, Belfast and London. So there is a lot of work to be done, and I think the context is good. I think the context is good. Does that mean that we aren't going to have big challenges ahead? No. Does that mean that we are not going to have our points of tension and contrast and disagreement in some cases? No. But what it does mean is that we can actually now start to build or rebuild a really, really constructive, honest relationship, and I think that is to be welcomed all around. Yes, it is. And as we get into the detail of all of this with the British government, as they set out their own thinking, and I hope increasingly that they will amplify their points and offer more clarity as to what they mean when they say the condition is met, when it becomes apparent. Well, what makes this apparent? How does this become manifest to their way of thinking? We look forward to engaging with that. What we can say without fear of contradiction is that the issue of reunification and referendums has never been more alive in Irish political discourse right across the island. I don't recall a time ever, and I'm an activist for a long time, I don't ever recall a time when so many people from such diverse backgrounds have been talking, engaging, considering and debating the issue of Irish unity so openly. So it's in play. This question is in play now. And in some respects, Amanda, there is a piece of this where politics needs to catch up with what's happening outside of the political bubble.
Mary Lou McDonald, I want to ask you a follow-up question about casement. I'd love to ask you about the Euros as well, because if you're not supporting England, then you're supporting the Orange Men of Holland. But anyway.
We did make that point, Mark. we certainly did.
You did?
We did. That and a reference to clogs. Yeah.
So, for the record, you are supporting Holland? Anyway, the casement part, the serious question is, if the British government does bring something more to the party, Michelle's beside you, I mean, do you think the executive here, the GAA and even the government in Dublin needs to dig a little bit deeper too?
Well, yes, I think everybody has to play their part, and I will allow the First Minister maybe field the question as regards the executive. But yes, of course, this is a big project. It's been put on the long finger for far too long. By the way, this is a project that is going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit all of the North. It's going to benefit the island in its totality. So yes, the British government need to come forward with the requisite monies. Dublin has to honour its commitments, and likewise all other parties to the agreement, including the executive.
No, I mean, I think that sets it out. I mean, it's just time to get it done. I mean, This has gone on for far too long. I'm exhausted talking about it in front of the media every time, but we need to just now make it happen. It needs to become a reality. This is the remaining stadium that's yet to be built. We've had the rugby stadium, we had the soccer stadium. It's now time to build a casement. And what better opportunity than to take our place within the Euros and to have it built as part of that project? What that means in terms of the economic impact, it's huge, huge impact that's going to have, and the legacy for sport. This should be the big unifier. This is something that I want the young people who live here to be part of and to know that we're part of the Euros at the next time round. So let's not miss this opportunity. I'm actually quite enthused by, I think, the recognition from the new government that they actually see the benefit that comes with our part in the Euros. So let's hope that then translates into actual money, because we need to put the money on the table. We know what the Irish government's contribution is. We know what the executive have earmarked for it. We know what the GAA have earmarked for it. We now need to know what is the British government's contribution to the project. But if we all have to dig deep, then we all have to dig deep, because this needs to be just delivered.
And then we need to qualify for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.